Hi there. This might be a little long and rambling. I'm not super prepared for this, but I thought it'd be something I'd like to get out there uh, today rather than never. So I'm going to kind of wing this. The topics here are varied. So before I buy something, hardware for or software for guitar players and guitar playing and amp simulators and stuff like that, I like to do as much research as I can. And a lot of that involves online tutorials and reviews, as I'm sure it does for many of you. Sometimes I go to the manufacturer and download manuals. And if you try to do that with IK Multimedia, you probably find that that's a little difficult because they won't allow you to do that until you buy it. Last time I checked, anyway. But usually they're pretty forthcoming, most people. But there are some things that you can't know until you get the actual software or device. And one of those, well, two of those devices on the table today are the I'll get there are the Mooer GE250 and the Sonicake Pocket Master. Um, what have these got to do with each other? Well, uh, I just am looking for. I was looking for a device. I've gone through so many hardware units, both large and small, and sold them on Reverb or returned them because what I'm competing with is this here is BiasFX, and this leads us to another thing. Part of what makes for a successful purchase would be knowing what you in particular want and what's going to serve your needs. So I can flesh this out a little bit from here with you. I don't work live. I don't play out live. I don't work on stage. I don't really need a hardware solution like this, but they've come down in price and they have a lot of features that compete with software, which I've been using this ever since the first version came out. And it's been my favorite and my go-to repeatedly. Some of the limitations are how low you can get the latency. I've got it at 64, and it works at 64. What is it? Let's see, audio settings. Buffer size, it's usually 64. Buffer size 64 and 44.1. Now, part of the reason I use 44.1 is that some of the effects don't work properly or they sound very different at higher bit rates, or I would use them. Doesn't make that much of a difference, but I would prefer to use higher bit rates, but that's another limitation. That's something I'm trying to get away from here. But then the GE250 has internally, it has higher conversion rates, but audio-wise, it is 44.1, but I think it is 24-bit, which is great. But this is actually a very hard unit to outdo because I have the iPad, and that's the hardware, and the iPad has a lot of computing power. And if BiasFX really wanted to, and Positive Grid really wanted to flesh out what they could do with this program in particular, it could be very impressive. And I probably wouldn't even be looking for a separate device. But I think they've pretty much cooled their desire to develop and move forward with this at least this platform, which is unfortunate because it is a seamless operation between stuff you can do with much more expensive devices like this. This is the amp modifier. You can go through all the different stages of an amplifier and modify various parameters, send it right back to BiasFX, and it will insert it into the what do they call this? Amp line, the line, the effects line. sequence, and it is really, really hard to beat for me because I don't need hardware. And if I did, the thing that I would put most of my time into would be an FR speaker setup so that I could take this on stage and have it sound and respond the way I want to. For my purposes at home, of course, I use earbuds and headphones, and so none of that's necessary. So again, it would be a dual function for the hardware. What I'm trying to find is hardware that I can use to replace this and use it with and integrate it with some of the software tools I use within the iOS workspace, because there's a lot of good stuff in there, and they work together. There's a synergy. It's very simple. It's low power consumption. It's mobile. It's just all around easier. I don't like PCs. I stay away from PCs if I can. So there's that. So this is what I'm trying to do here. Now, what happened to me with these two? I just got the Pocket Master, I don't know, a week ago, and I was really impressed, really, really impressed with this thing. Honestly. It also loads NAM profiles, and if you check online on YouTube, I recommend you check out Leo Gibson. He just did it today or hours ago. He did a review of the latency, and he compared the Pocket Master to the NAM profiler, NAM player, and of course this is compromised. It's compromised, but it's $69 or $60, $65, and it sounds great. It really does. The amp models, the effects, it's limited, but it's $60. So see, that's the thing. Now, I have this here that was about $300, and that's what I'll talk about now. It sounds very good, and I repeatedly checked with online websites and Mooer's website, and just did internet searches, and I went with ChatGPT and Copilot, and I asked it about some of the features that this has. The features that I'm looking for, and the features that either I can't find and I can't make happen on this thing, or that weren't really mentioned or are discussed in a different way than I'm looking for, are the following. This does do split signal chain, but it doesn't let you pan the signal chains. As far as I know, you can't pan the signal chains. As you see up here, I have two analog delays, and they're stereo split. They're stereo split here. And I have these stacked. This gives it a much fuller, deeper, richer sound. I can do parallel assignments in the 200 and the 250, but you can't stereo split it. And I know that it seems odd that someone would be so hung up with such a thing, but there's also the limitations of the effects that are available in the 250. Let me launch this. Launch the device. Launch the app, rather. Okay, so that's... And I wanted to mention a couple other things. The Mooer website, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. It's kind of a nightmare, to me anyway. So, I mean, this is very impressive. There's a great selection, but again, it's about what you're looking for. What am I looking for? I'm looking for 2 independent delays, preferably analog. And if they're digital, they have to have a high frequency roll-off. Now, I'm not prepared to show you what that sounds like and why it's important to me, but it's an aesthetic decision. It's a production decision. It's something I need to have. I cannot recreate that with the Mooer GE250 because the delay effects, I don't know if you can see this. Can I make it bigger for you? Let's see. Yeah. Digital, analog, reel, tape, mod, reverse, ping pong, dynamic, and dual delay. Now, dual delay got my hopes up, but it's mono. And ping pong, of course, is ping pong. Ping pong is not the same. I usually use about, I don't know, 50 or 60 milliseconds to split these two analog delays that are usually between 350 and 650 milliseconds in delay. And it sounds stupid. It sounds like just a small detail, but it's very important. And I can do it with BiasFX, but I can't do it with the Pocket Master or the GE250. Now the Pocket Master is $60, GE250 is $300. So this is a insurmountable obstacle for me. And in addition to that, there are so many. Let me see if I can, please bear with me here, as I don't do this enough to really. All right, let's see. There are many, many effects, modulation effects and delay effects that come with bias. So like what? Okay, modulation effects maybe. Plus you can also make your own. I mean, there's a couple added ones that I made in here because you also have an effect, a pedal editor. You can adjust and modify these. Now it's limited. It's not like a virtual electronics board where you can do virtual design. But it does allow you to do certain things, which is not the scope of this, but I'm just telling you, this is the kind of thing that I'm giving up if I go to a hardware solution. Now, some of this I'm willing to give up, and there's some things I don't want to give up. I want a selection of interesting modulation effects. And that does not happen here in the Mooer, as far as I can tell, either. Because what do we have? We have effects A. What is it? I don't know. Looking on the wrong thing. Effects, I have the amp. Effects A. Effects A. Look at all those effects. Okay. Wah, wah. Cry wah. 535 wah, auto wah, 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 ha. Oh, talk wah, touch wah. Yellow comp, blue comp, phaser. I never use phasers. Step phaser, don't care. Fat phaser, don't care. Flanger, I never use. Left jet flanger, never use. Tremolo, very important. Stutter, that's cool. Vibrato, this vibrato is supposed to kind of sound. Oh no, that's vibrato. I'm talking about the rotary. The vibrato may or may not be in stereo. Let's see. Vibrato position, perhaps. I don't remember, but I do know the detune is not stereo. Like, why wouldn't the detune be stereo? Can you imagine how cool that would be? It's not. Rotary is stereo, but it has no speed control, and it has no depth. It has rate, but it has no depth. So you're stuck with this, and you can't change it. Analog chorus, it's okay. These are not stereo. Well, some of them are. Yeah, some of the chorus is stereo. Ring mod, no, I never use that. Filters, don't use them. These are also modulated filters. It'd be nice if they were just even an EQ filter, but they're not. They have a movement. They have a modulation. Slow clear, I don't know what the hell that is. Slow gear, rather. Lo-fi, don't care. Digital delay is digital delay, but it's also not stereo. The noise gates are good. They're not fantastic, but they're good. Noise gates that have a level of attenuation are nice. You can really dial them in, but it does have this Intel reducer, which works pretty well. I think it shaves off a little bit of the top end. So see, all these little details, once you get it in your hands, it makes a difference, you know. What else we got? There's lots of cabs. The cabs I wouldn't complain about. EQ, what? They're okay. You know. Send and return. I don't even know. I still don't really know what's going on with this. FXB. Okay, what do we got over here? Flanger, Lotus does it. So it's not everything. You know, so you can't, can you put an overdrive in here? No. So can you stack overdrives? They say you can. I don't know how. I don't know how you would do that. If I go to Effects A and I want to put an overdrive in there, how do I do that? And then I want this overdrive to be, I don't get it. I don't understand. They say you can have as many, you can repeat the same effect. How do you do that exactly? Not really sure about that. That's one of the reasons I got it, because that's what I do that. I stack multiple devices, you know. And now you can change patches. I don't want to change patches. I want them here. I use it as part of designing the sound. So this is a limitation that I'm not prepared to deal with. Reverbs are nice. Not a whole lot. Nothing fancy. But it's okay. So here I am. I'm here with a very nice unit. I mean, it's well made. It's sturdy. It feels good. It has a high quality sound. Even if it's 44.1, it matched up with my iPad perfectly. The driver's installed. The latency is super low. It's a great device for a person that doesn't care about certain things. And unfortunately, in my case, these are not things that I want to pay $300 to have to give up. So I can cut down latency by a few milliseconds and just have a piece of hardware. And now the other thing is, what do you think you can load into this as far as profiles? Can you load an amp profile? Can you load a preamp? Can you load a cabinet? You can load IRs, and you can load more cabinets. But as far as I know, you can't really load a preamp because there is no preamp delegation here, which is another thing. So I go to the website. Where would you go to get these amps? And where would you go to get these patches? So you go to Mooer, right? You go to the Mooer website. Let's see what we got. Please bear with me. I'm sorry. Like I said, this could take a while because I'm going to be talking a lot. And if you don't like that, you're not going to like this. Okay. So, let me see. Can I get more up here? There we go. Second to get it onto the proper screen. Okay. Now, depends on what you search for and what link you click as to where you're going to end up in the Mooer universe. This is mooreaudio.com. Mooreaudio.com. So let me show you around here. So I'm out here. I'm like, well, how do I get these amp profiles? Well, you can look in the manual, but it's not much help, frankly. It's about this thick, but that's all the different languages. The actual manual itself is, I don't know, 15 pages or something. So I'm excited because, and that's another reason I bought it, because I have the Mooer app, the GE Labs app, which also sounds great, but it has very weak effects selections. And where am I? I'll show you the GE Labs. I haven't connected the GE Labs. I haven't connected the 250 to the app on the iPad yet. See what happens there. Maybe I'll do that. But let me show you real quick. Well, actually, am I doing anything real quick? Not really, right? So this is the GE Labs app. It's awesome. It sounds really good, and I hadn't used it as much as I will now because it uses a lot of CPU. And I have an M1 and this is a Pro, and it runs it pretty well. And you can get a better latency. You can get 32 samples, so it's great. It's great in that regard. In fact, if it had more effects and good effects that I'm looking for, I'd probably be super happy with it. But they don't do anything with this anymore. But you can access the cloud. And the cloud has all of these profiles. And this is awesome. This is great. I was really hoping I could use this stuff with the 250. And if you know what I can use, like if it interfaces with this, can you get the drive sample? Can you get a preamp sample? Can you get the entire sample? Can you get a cab sample? As far as I can tell, you can get a cab sample and an entire sample. And that's about it, which is not bad, but it's a pain in the ass. So let's go get it. Let's go get some samples. Where would that be? Oh, I think it's in the studio because I think I read that somewhere. If you go on YouTube, Chop Tones will run you through it in a very terse fashion. Now, here's the other thing. This loads like shit. Oh, you can't see it. Here we go. Let's do this then, shall we? So here I am. I clicked it. It's the little thing is twisting at the top. You can't see it though. See, we're trying. It's trying. More studio. Come on, baby. Every single time I try to get to this website, it does this. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Okay. Studio. Let's click that studio. Let's get in there. Let's get in that studio. Let's go get some stuff from the studio. Yeah. Okay, so see, I went through this shit now ad nauseum. And let me try this. Okay. It's just not loading. Is this a new thing? I mean, oh, here we go. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Well, maybe not so much. I want to check out some models. I want to use my new 250. Oh, there we go. Hey, bam. That didn't take too long, did it? So you got this. So you come here. Well, actually, this isn't where you end up, unfortunately. You go to home. And that's brisk, snappy little goes right there, doesn't it? Oh, bing, bang, boom. Now you got to get rid of this because it doesn't go away. You got to click here to get rid of that. And you get this fucking shit here. And support videos, downloads, products. So if you came to this page, what would you think? Oh, where would I go to get some amp captures? Go to downloads? Look at that, 404. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Do I have to consult? Do I have to call? Do I have to take a ticket? Do I have to get a ticket? Uh-huh. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Oh, there's that firmware update. Yeah. Presets, samples, presets. So, if there was a book or documentation that came with this, you would quickly understand what is a preset? What is a sample? What is a sample? It's not a sample like an audio sample, is it? No, it's not. It's a sample of a cabinet or an amp, as far as I can tell. Sample. 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 Come on, baby. It's trying. It's gonna. There it is. So you can use these on the iPad app, but trying to use them on the 250 is a different kettle of fish, as they say. And why is that? I don't know. I'll tell you how far I got. So if you look for instructions, and the instructions I got from ChatGPT and Copilot were of no help, because the way they show it is not the way this thing works. So you see that you have this computer area here. Here, let me shrink this down a little bit. Hold on. Shrink this down a little bit. Widen this out a little bit. Bring this over. So you see it says computer. Click on that and it opens a folder on your computer. Okay? And I managed to score one little .mo thing at this one point, which was, it loaded and then it never showed up anywhere. I don't know what the fucking MO is. Who knows? It's not what I was looking for. So what I gleaned, which took me, I don't know, half a day, was that to get an amp profile, you have to go to the amp, okay? Then you go to, let me see if I can even remember this, to empty. Then you click the plus, and then it opens up your hard drive, your file system, and then you go find that thing. I put them somewhere. Where did I put them? NAM profiles. I'm checking those out on the Pocket Master, which I happen to love, by the way. It was absolutely no frustration level with that thing. Nothing. So these are the Mooer GNR. I started a GNR. Some of the files are .gnr. I don't know what the fuck that is. I think that's what I want for an amp. I don't know. Let's see. Song edit, video production, Pocket Master. I went and bought Leo Fender's IRs today. Leo Gibson's IRs. NAM profiles Mooer. Okay, so these are supposed to be GIR files. I had some. I know I did. Desktop. Not in the NAM profiles, because those are NAM profiles. Mooer GNR. Why is there nothing there? GIR. See, this is a cab. Oops, sorry, amp. See what happens? Go to amp. Now that's operator error. So you go to amp, go to an empty slot, click the plus. Okay, here we go. So I downloaded these earlier, and they work, and they're great. But what a pain in the ass. Have you guys made use of this? I hope so, because it's kind of cool. And you can also profile the same way with this thing. You can also profile on the iOS app. So what am I getting at? I bought it based on what I got in descriptions, verbal descriptions, and videoed examples that led me to believe certain things that apparently I misunderstood. That would be splitting the signal chain. You can split it, but you can't split it in stereo. that makes a difference because I could, well, also I'd have to use 2 analog delays to get the effect I'm using. Apparently you can do that, so it says, but I don't know how. Because if I choose an effect, how many analog delay is all I get? Now, if I put an analog delay there, can I go to the other effects? Where's my delay? Is there another delay? No. Okay, that's an analog delay, but I can use the delay. I can have another analog delay. I can have 2 analog delays. Now, how do I split them? Put them in here somehow? The effects return. Does it have a pan? No. So I don't really, and you don't really see it like on the display. I don't, it doesn't, I don't really know what I'm looking at here. Effects B, send, where's the return? Oh, the return, okay. And again, the flow, oh, let me see if I can show you. So the flow, let me see if I can get us in focus a little better here. Sorry, if this is a nightmare, then I probably lost you a while ago. Hopefully this might help somebody. It would have helped me. And I always try to make sure everything I resell is in perfect condition when I sell it. So this is probably going to end up on reverb. All right, I'm sorry. Where am I? Trying to fix the focus on this piece of shit. Okay, come on. It's really hard to do. Okay, zoom in. And tilt. So you see the signal chain. So it looks like it originates here, goes this way, and around and out. So you go. So there's this is the split is merely indicated by where it says return and send. Now you can't do anything with the return and the send. Effects loop. So there's the loop. Send level, return level, loop mode. Dry wet. That's not, it needs a pan and it doesn't have it. Okay, so we can just basically agree that in my particular use case scenario, this isn't going to work. If it had more and varied modulation and delay effects, like if the dual delay was a dual stereo delay, which I can't believe it isn't. It just seems like, why wouldn't it be with panning? And then you just move it. Is it too much processor power? I don't know. But there's stuff like that. And so my point is, there's something about these things that I think we all probably have come in contact with, or maybe some of us don't, some of your use case scenarios aren't like mine. Maybe mine is kind of freaky. But this thing looked on paper, and based on what I could glean from all these fucking videos I watching the same things over and over and over again, trying to get to that one place where somebody goes, oh yeah, no, you can't pan these. And no, there's only these delays, and there's only this and that. I never got it. Or I wouldn't have bought this. That's how that works. So, for what it's worth, if you're considering buying a unit, be aware that a parallel signal chain is not a parallel signal chain in all senses of the word, and multiple instances of the same effect. Still not sure what I mean. What I showed you on the iPad, that was most definitely multiple instances of the same effect. Exactly that. And that's what I thought I could do with this. And if I'm terribly wrong about this, I apologize, and I hope that someone writes it in the comments or something and straightens us out, because I, I, I'm frustrated, to be honest with you. I didn't expect to have to spend this much time. I got this thing yesterday, and I'm not stupid. So, I guess maybe I am, but this took way longer and has been a frustrating experience, and not happy with it. But I would say that Mooer they make great hardware. As far as I can judge by this, their app is awesome. Um, it's just limited, and then the same is true for this device. It's limited, and it's a little too limited for me for $300, $299 or whatever it was. I was ready to be done with this. I'm not prepared to show you all the different. I've returned and sold, and resold, and bought, and I keep thinking I want hardware, and every time I get hardware, it sucks and doesn't sound right. It sounds fizzy and thin, and there's some kind of restraint to the CPU power, and it's just not. And I can't afford a fractal. I know that for the price of a high level iPad, I could just get a fractal maybe, but or a Helix or whatever, but that's not in my budget. And I don't think it ever will be because of obsolescence. And I don't gig. I'm not a gigging musician. That's not something that I need it for. And even if I did, not so sure I couldn't set up just as much on an iPad system. So I'm an iPad nerd, and I like being able to tweak and to adjust and to try different things. And part of this palette here lets you do it all at one time. I've put everything this has on this signal chain, and it runs. I mean, you can't do it on an iPad Mini 4 or an iPad Air 2, but and it's disappointing to me that we can't get to this position where people will continue to create for this platform. They're just not. And THU is just, I don't like the interface. Again, it's limited. There, in my opinion, and this is, there's some things you can not like about Positive Grid, but there's no application for the mobile universe that can compete with BiasFX2. I wish there would be a BiasFX3. I wish it had lower latency. I wish it had higher bit rates. I wish it would. There's some bugs and things that they didn't fix, and there's some things about the UI that are messed up. But I don't think it's going to happen because there's just not that much money in it. I think where the money is probably in hardware, to be frank with you. And I'm surprised at that too. I would have thought software would have been cheaper. But these things they're just banging these units off, and I'm trying to become a part of that ecosystem, but it's odd because I'm not really going to go for a $2,000 or $1,500 strictly guitar unit. I don't need that. I don't want to put that much money. It's not practical. I'm not in that financial situation, and it wouldn't return on the investment. So the fun of this kind of is just trying to find the best solution given these restraints, which is what I'm trying to do. And maybe some of you will enjoy that. I don't know. But this isn't it. And I'll tell you what, though, this Pocket Master thing, this is awesome. I mean, and again, it's a use case. It could be just a piece of a paperweight for people that aren't going to use it. But for me, as somebody who likes to play around with this stuff, this thing is amazing. It loads NAM profiles. And it doesn't play them back at the fidelity, but you just put a little top end on it and work around it for 1/10 the price. I mean, come on. So I guess I'll wrap it up. You might want to look on Reverb for a pristine Mooer GE250 because I'm not going to keep this. I will say the amp models are great. They really are. And the ability to download, if you put the effort in, you go hunt for the right things and find the magic mojo to get things to work because they're I don't know. I mean, if there's a better manual, it should have been in the box, right? The open box experience and the initial usage shouldn't be an Easter egg hunt. I shouldn't have to go all over the place trying to figure out what the hell goes on and what goes where. I don't think, but then that's just me. So thanks for watching, and I hope somebody found something useful in this, and I will probably see you at some other point, and play music. Be happy.